all of you.
Good evening. Good evening.
Can I request everybody to be muted, please, if you don't mind, please? Some background disturbance is there.
So Mahesh,
Yeah, when?
the SAP server that you're connecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was pretty fast for you. You know, when we use the server that they provided,
Hmm.
it's extremely slow. When you click on any link, like for ledgers, if you click, it takes a minute to open up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I tried night time, daytime, weekday, weekend, every time I tried.
Is it everybody the same situation that we are facing the problem with the server with the slow activity?
Yes.
It's the same actually.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Mahesh, this is Prem here. I don't even have the access. They are still working on it.
Huh? What is okay? Who is this? Is this Safras?
No, initially I'm the one who complained about Venkat.
Venkat. Who didn't got the access?
Prem.
Prem, 1 second, Prem. Could you please attend the class? 1 second. Yeah.
So in the meanwhile, you know, in view of everybody's time, I think we can take it offline this one, but you can continue because we are late,
Yeah.
right?
No. I'll take care of this. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, hi Mahesh. Good morning.
Hey, could you please take care of that one of our consultants didn't got the access. Prem didn't got the access as of now. And one more issue here, the server is very, very deadly slow, it seems. So it is taking a lot of time to activate the configuration activities.
Okay. What I suggest is you could just send an email to support@sapclouds.com.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did do that, but there's no response from them.
Okay. And
Just take care of it, Imran, okay?
yeah, sure, we'll do that. One more thing, whoever have not received that server access, you can just send an email to Khan at Zarentech.
I've already done that. I'm waiting for you to respond. Actually, this is Prem here.
Yeah, sure, Prem. I'll just check and I'll let them team know, and they will get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay. So in the last class, we have done about all these things, currencies. Okay. So what are all the currencies which are available and what are the currencies which are defaulted in our SAP? We have discussed each and every currency in much more detail about here. And also there is a one setting here. The currency which we are going to be creating, the currency, whichever the new currency which we are going to be creating, actually there is a setting called as a default level. One is the company code level, another one is the global level. Global level is nothing but it is applicable for all the company codes. For example, let us take an example here. For a global level, I'm talking about the global level. Now, for example, let us take an example here. Okay, I'll take one example called as a 10 currency. Currency type 10 will be the global. There is no change in the currency type 10. Okay, because a company code is a mandatory for all the companies. Okay, irrespective of number of company codes in your company, it is compulsory that whichever the company code you're creating, it is a defaulted with the currency type 10. It is a global, you cannot change it. So like this, so the global currency types are going to be applicable for all the company codes, and as company code specific the currency types are applicable only for the selected company codes only. So how do I know which are the company codes or which are the company codes have been selected with the company code specific? See here, if you see the currency type 30, 31, 32, 34, these all have been selected as the company code specific. So here there is an option called as global currency type conversion, and the second one is currency conversion setting for the company code. Okay, whichever the currencies which you have set as a globally, you can see here in the global currency, and whichever the currencies you have been set in the company code specific, this you can see in the company code specific over here. Okay, so these are the company code specific means, okay, company code is the default here. You can see here, these are the company code specific. So those currency types are selected for only for selected company codes only. It is not applicable for all the company codes. Mean to say that, hey Rahul, okay, for example, if you take a currency type 10, okay, you are selected it as a company code specific, but I never use the currency type 40 because we don't have the requirement of using the 40. But is it a mandatory that the same currency type should be assigned to my company code? Not required. Not required. If it is not required from your company code specific level, it is not required for your business specific level. So it is not compulsory that this currency type should be extended to your company code. So if I go to my currency conversion to the company code level, so no need to have a new entry option for you. No need to go for a new entry and no need to add your company code in this list. Very, very important this is. So if it is a global, it is applicable for all the company codes as we discussed in the last class. If it is a global, it is applicable for all the company codes. Why? Because there is no company codes here. You can see here, there is no company code. It is applicable for all the company codes. If it is a company code specific, here you need to provide the company code. That's all. So this is the major difference between the global and the company code specific. Very, 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 very important. So my question here is, now, in this particular currency type, I see here 7 to 8 currency types have been selected as the company code specific. Okay, from 32 till 66. I see all the currency types have been selected as a company code specific here. Now, in this 30, okay, I want to go for 40 and I want to go for 60. Only for my company code, 30, 40, and 60 should be added. Remaining all are not required. So if I go to the currency type setting for the company code, so if I go to the new entry, if I give my company code, okay, with the currency type 30 or so whatever maybe. So here I'm giving the company code. One second. If I go into the new entry, I'm adding the company code. Here you can see I'm adding the company code. So which currency you want to add in the list? So that is what exactly the question. Okay, so which company code you want to add? What happened to the system? Okay, So here, if you go to the display here, if you go to the display, so here it is asking for the currency here. Here, if you see here, this is asking for the currency type. Now, if I click on the search help, here, this is what exactly we are going to be calling it as a search help. Now, if I go into the search help, it will display the currency types. Very, very important. It will display the currency types where you have selected it as a company code specific, which is not as a global. Where it has been selected as a company code specific, which is not as a global. Now I'm just selecting the currency types. You can see here, I just clicked on the search help. Now I'm going into the system. See here. Now see here. Okay, only those currency types which you have selected as a global level, only at the global level, very, very important. Sorry, company code specific, not as a global level. Only the company code specific currency types you can see here. So for example, if I select the 60 is going to be called as a global currency, which is going to be called as a global currency. Now, what is your global currency? Now, what is your conversion? Which is what exactly? The global currency which I'm using is going to be called as a euro. What is the source currency? Source currency always will be your currency type 10. Very, very important. This is a certification question to all of you. Because every time I will do the local currency conversion with the foreign currency. Whether your local currency is a USD, your local currency is always will be the defaulted with USD. Example here I'm telling for the 1710 company code. So here the local currency is USD, but you are making the transactions where you are making the transactions either with the currency type 60 or currency type 30 or currency type 40 or currency type 50, whichever the company code specific currency types you are going to be seeing. So this currency type 30 may have the euro, this currency type 31 may have the INR, this currency type 40 may have any other currency. So what you are going to do, you are displaying, you are maintaining the currency type here for the company code and what is the currency for this currency type. Very, very important this is. This euro, whatever the euro I have been specified here, this is for the currency type 60, not for the local currency. Because the local currency default will be, for my company code 1710, the local currency is defaulted with the USD. So here, the currency conversion will be happened between the source currency to the target currency. What is the target currency? Target currency 60. So what is the currency type you have been assigned? Euro. So local currency for the target currency. So what exchange rate type you want to use? Whether you want to go for bank selling, bank average, or which exchange rate? So I'm giving as an exchange rate type M, and the translation date always should be taking as a document date here. Very, very important. So
Mahesh, one question. This is source currency. Yesterday, last class, you have mentioned that it's always a 00.
00 or 10.
00 or 10?
10.
And for type 10, 11, and 12, you mentioned that it is a 00 for a source currency.
Global. That is the global, sir. Here we are discussing about the company code specific.
Okay.
Yeah. See, sir, I'll tell you one example. Now I'll tell you one example here. Okay. Now, so when I take an example here, okay, I have a company code. Okay, the company code is US 10. Okay, here for this company code, I have assigned the currency which is called as a USD. This is called as a currency type 10. This is called as a currency type 10. Now, when I call it as a document currency, transaction currency, we can 00 is nothing but a document currency. We call it as a document currency. This is the company code currency. So when I take the document currency, okay, what is the document currency type, sir? It is 00. It is at 00. So when I can call it as a document currency, now there are two transactions I am posting. Okay, travel expenses to. Travel expenses is getting debited with 100 USD dollars, example, and my cash or bank account. Okay, my cash or bank account is getting credited with how much? With the same amount. Okay, with the same amount, 100 USD dollars. Okay, this is one transaction. Now I'll take one more transaction here. I'm posting one more transaction. Same transaction I'm posting with, okay, sorry, okay, which I'm going to be taking as a, okay, with INR, okay, with INR. This is the foreign currency now. Now I'm taking it as a foreign currency, okay, INR to cash or bank account. Okay, which is same the INR only. Now, can you please tell me, sir, which is the company code currency and which is the document currency here? Anybody?
USD is the company code currency, and the INR is the document currency.
So here in the first case, what we are telling, USD, that is the currency which I have posted in currency type USD, which is the currency type 10, is called as a document. This is going to company code currency, and this is called as a document currency. Am I right?
That's correct. Yeah.
No, USD,
Anybody have any suggestions on this?
the first transaction, the USD is both document currency and company code currency.
Exactly. So
The second one is document currency is INR.
and foreign currency.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in this case, if you see here, it contains two level of currency types, are very, very important. It contains two level of currency type. One is the 10, very, very important. In this case, one is the 10 and another one is the 00. Very, very important. Here it contains both. Your document currency and the company code currency is same here. So you're posting the document in the same currency as a company code currency. So here it contains two currency types. One is the 10, another one is the document currency. Second one, in this case, if you see here, one is the document currency. The document currency is same INR only, no company code. Document currency is same INR only. And here you're posting the transaction in foreign currency. Very, very important. Either it is going to be a group currency or any other currency. So it is not a company code currency. So I cannot take it as a 10 here. I cannot take it as a 10. No, I cannot take it as a 10. Why? Because you're posting the transactions in foreign currency. So it is not a company code currency transaction. But already I have maintained the translation rates between the INR to USD and USD to INR in my exchange rate spreadsheet before I posted the document. I'm talking about the second one. So already I maintained the exchange rates. What exchange rates you have maintained? I have maintained the exchange rates in my spreadsheet, the indirect quotation and the direct quotation. INR to USD, INR to USD and USD to INR. I already maintained the exchange rate. So $1 is equal to 79 and 79 is equal to how many dollars? So I already maintained the exchange rates. Very, very important. Now, what exchange rate type you have been used for both? I use the bank average. I have used the bank average. Bank average is nothing but exchange rate type M. M is called as the bank average, which is the standard SAP here. So I'm using the bank average. Now, when I'm posting this document, whenever I'm posting this foreign currency posting, which date should I take into consideration? Whether I have to take the document type, document date or posting date, or whether I need to take the translation date. There will be 3 dates are going to be displayed. So here, this is the option which I'm going to be providing. One is the standard exchange rate type M, and another one is going to be called as a translation date, which is going to be called as a document date or posting date or the translation date. So here, your source currency, very, very important here. When I come to the source currency here, always I'll take 10 or 00. Always I'll take the 10 or 00 only. You can see here display. Always I take the 10 or 00. 10 is nothing but your document currency or company code currency, and 00 is nothing but that. It is a certification question. Very, very important certification question. I hope I made the statement very clear to all of you. Any doubts in this?
No.
Everybody. Okay. So this is exactly, yeah.
So you have 30 and you have 60, right?
Exactly. Here,
What is the difference between 30 and 60?
30 is the group currency. The 60 is nothing but the global currency. As I discussed with, 60 is nothing but a global currency. 30 is the group currency.
So group currency usually is maintained at what level, you said? It's
Group currency is maintained at the client level. Client level. See, I'm using the server. Yeah, I'm using the client called as a 400. 400 is nothing but my client which I'm using. So whichever the currency you have maintained in the client level, that is SCC4 transaction, that is the group currency. And whatever the currency you have been assigned at the company level, that is the global currency.
Okay, that's 60.
60.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Now, yes. Yeah.
But,
Now I
but
understand about the currency types.
But consolidation happens at client level or the company level?
It is going to be happened at the whatever the consolidation currency at the global level, whatever the currency you want to assign, that will become your consolidated currency, sir. Client level is the group currency, irrespective of number of company codes you have.
Now, for example, for that system in which you have all the company codes, the consolidation happens at the client level, right?
Client level. That is correct.
But if you have multiple systems and multiple clients, then it happens at the
It depends upon, that is what, whichever the currency type you have been assigned, that is going to be your consolidated currency.
So basically that means it's nothing but, like, let's say that it's a holdings company, right?
Correct.
So for the holdings company, you declare the currency as the one at 60.
Yeah. And the client level, I'll assign the currency type 30.
Okay. No. Yeah. So at the global, let's say the headquarters is in the US. At the global level, you assign for that global holdings top hierarchy company, you assign 60, right?
Yeah, correct. You're right. Absolutely right. Yes, correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And one more question I have about ledgers, actually. When you touch this ledger and you say the leading ledger is 0L.
Right? Zero always default. It is a default.
Yeah, but what I understood is each ledger has its own accounting principle.
And that I'm coming. Now I'm coming to that same point. I'm coming now. I'm coming.
When you check this 0L, it has 3 accounting principles signed.
Okay. Now I'll select. Okay. Now I'm coming to the accounting principles now. Now we have understood about the various currency types. Okay. We have understood about what is the global, what is the company code specific. And now I'm coming to the ledgers now. Now, when I take a ledger OL, okay, this is for the standard accounting purpose. Maybe I'm using IFRS or maybe I'm using the US GAAP, which is the local accounting standard. So whatever the principle I want to assign, that is going to be assigned. So I'm selecting the ledger. And if I go to the company code specific, if I go to the company code, because I need to define it at the company code level. Now what I will do here, I'll selecting my company code and double click on accounting principle for the ledger and the company code. This is very, very important. Okay, there will be 3 certification questions on this. I'll explain what are those certification questions also, how the certification question will be appear in the exam. Okay, I'll explain you. Okay, now I'm selecting here. Now if I take this particular paper, okay, now just I'll remove this. Yeah, now I'm using the company code called as US 10. I'm using the company code, which I'm using the local accounting principle. Local, very, very important here. Local, okay, local accounting principle I'm using to this particular company code. Okay, what is your local accounting principle? So the local accounting principle here I'm using as a US GAAP. US GAAP is nothing but my local accounting principle, which is for the ledger called as OL. Very, very important. Which is going to be called as a ledger called as the OL. Now the first certification question here is the first very 100% certification question it is. The first certification question here is accounting principle is getting assigned at which level? They'll ask you the question like this. Accounting principle, very, very important. Accounting principle is getting assigned at which level? So they will give 4 to 5 options. Okay, with the client level, company code level, and the ledger level only, company specific level. So they'll give the 4 to 5 options. The correct answer is going to be whenever you want to assign an accounting principle for a company code. Very, very important. So it is getting assigned at both level, at ledger level and the company code level. So your answer should be ledger and company code specific level. Make a note on this, please. It is a 100% associate level certification question it is. Accounting principles are maintained at ledger and company code level. Make a note on this, please. All of you, please. Okay. Now, here if you see here, there is an option called as a new entry option is there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm selecting the ledger and the company code. If you are assigning more than one ledger, one accounting principle, if you are assigning more than one accounting principle to a company code, then this is nothing but ledger specific. Very, very important. It is called as a ledger specific. If you are assigning only one ledger, one accounting principle to one company code to a particular ledger, then this is not the ledger specific. This is called as company code. This is at the account specific. Very, very important. There are two things are there. One is going to be called as account specific. Account specific. Second one is ledger specific. Account specific, another one is the ledger specific. Okay, they will ask you a question. Are you using the ledger specific or account specific? They'll ask you the question here, and you're not any certification. If you go in a general, if you attend any interview or something, like one of your friend is asking, hey, are you using the ledger specific or the company code specific? The answer is going to be like based on your answer. Okay, that is nothing but if you are assigning more than, very, very important, my dear friends. I am very clear on this. Very, 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 very important. Now I'll remove all these things. First of all, I will remove all these things. Now for 1710 company code, I'm deleting all the accounting principles now. Yeah, I have removed all the accounting principles. Now you can see there is no accounting principle have been assigned. Now here you can see for my ledger OL, which I'm using for the US GAAP or IFRS, whatever maybe. So now let me explain here. See, now there is no accounting principle. Okay, now I'll go to the ledgers. I'll select my leading ledger. Always leading ledger is going to be called as your reporting ledger, local requirement standards. Now I'm selecting the company code. After selecting the ledger, I'm selecting the company code. Now select, okay, here it will be displayed all the company codes. It is not only for one company code, it will display all the company codes. From this list, select your company code. After selecting your company code, now here, at the ledger level and at the company code level, now you want to assign an accounting principle. Now what I will do, accounting principle for the ledger and the company code. Now I'm double clicking on it. Now here, which accounting principle you want to assign. So I'll show how to create the accounting principle. If the accounting principle is not available in this given list, so how can I create my own accounting principle? Yes, you can also create. But these are the default accounting principle. Now here I'm assigning only one accounting principle. So IFRS, local standard, that is IFRS for the ledger. Now, if I click on save, there will be no error message or warning message. See here. See here. There is no error or warning message. Successfully it has been saved. Successfully it has been saved. Now, if I am assigning one more accounting principle, if I'm assigning one more accounting principle, IAS, International Accounting Standard, if I'm assigning one more accounting principle, two accounting principles have been assigned to the same ledger, Now I'm trying to save it. Okay, now the data was saved. Now, two accounting principle. Now, is it a ledger specific or it is an account specific? Question to all of you.
Ledger specific.
It is for both.
It is for
It is
ledger.
ledger specific.
Again, once again, sir, please, once again to all of my friends, 1 second, sir, please. Okay, see here, very clearly I'm mentioning here. Okay, now see here. Now I removed nothing. No, for your ledger, OL, for 1710 company code, nothing has been assigned here. Nothing. There is a vacant you can see here. But as per my accounting standard level, I am using the US GAAP as my local accounting principle. Very, very important. So the local accounting principle you have been assigned to the company code US10 and you have been assigned at the ledger level. So this will become your ledger specific as I told you. Now here if I go and assign example IFRS. Okay, this is for the local. Okay, now I want to assign one more also. I am assigning the IAS. I'm saving here. Okay, now here in this case, you have assigned two accounting principles to the same company code. Same company code, but your ledger is only one. But according to my requirement, I have to account gap, another one is IFRS. Very, very important. Very, 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 very important. One is for the local gap, another one is for the IS one. Now, if you are assigning both the accounting principles to the same ledger, this particular concept will become the account specific, not the ledger specific. This is called as account specific.
Why is it account specific? Because you're maintaining different account?
Exactly. I'll tell it. Now I'm coming to the US 10. Same company code.
Mahesh, if the parallel accounting is enabled, then?
If the parallel accounting is enabled, that is what exactly. If I go, because I have the both accounting principle have been assigned to the same ledger. Okay. Now, if I go to the company code specific setting, then if I just scroll down to my company code, because you have assigned two accounting principle to this company code, then here, what I have to do, I need to select the parallel accounting. Now I'm deselecting here. See here, I'm deselecting now. I'm deselecting. And after deselecting, now I'm saving here. You have not set the indicator parallel accounting for the GL account. Now I'm getting a warning message.
Right.
Why I'm getting this warning message? Because for one ledger, you can assign only one accounting principle to tell it is a ledger specific. If you are assigning more than one accounting principle to one ledger, this is an account specific. You are not using the ledger specific. I had to create a separate GL account. I had to create a separate GL account for the IFRS. I need to create a separate GL account for the US GAAP. Why? Because you are using the account specific, not the ledger specific over here.
Okay. Yep.
Clear?
Yep.
So in that case, you have to select this checkbox parallel.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. So in this case, because I have assigned the two accounting principles, so I need to select this parallel accounting. 100%. It is a DAM.
Okay.
If your company code is not assigned with two ledgers, two accounting principles, okay, you have set the parallel indicator accounting. It is telling that you have set it. Now. I had to set it. I had to go back because I'm assigning only one company code with one ledger with one accounting principle. Now I'll go back, and what I will do here, I will remove this checkbox because I'm using the ledger specific. So I'll remove this checkbox.
Got it.
So automatically, if you assign two accounting principles for a company code under one ledger, will not that checkbox be automatically checked?
No. It will give a warning message for you. It is an indicator that you are not set this particular checkbox, so you have to go and do this.
Okay.
Yes, very, very important. Now, point number 2. Now, very clearly I mentioned in the last class also, if you have two ledgers, one is the OL, another one is the N1. OL is nothing but your leading ledger. OL is nothing but your leading ledger, and N1 is nothing but your non-leading ledger. Very, 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 very important point. Okay. Now for the OL, you are using from Jan to December. Jan to December. Very, very important. Here, this point I'm explaining now. I'm explaining about the fiscal year and the posting period variant. I'm explaining about the fiscal year and the posting period variant. And N1, I'm using from April to March. I'm using April to March. And both the ledgers, both the two ledgers, I have assigned to the same company code. Both the two ledgers I have assigned to the same company code. My company code is 1710. My company code is 1710 here. Very, very important. As we know that in our ECC system, only one fiscal year variant can be assigned to one company code. Now in SAP S/4HANA, the complete configuration changes have been done. Now, if we go to this particular, if we go to this universal general entry here, okay, now here only one company code. You can't assign more than one company code. Why? Because there is no new entry option. See here, there is no new entry option here. So whichever the company codes are in productive set, all these company codes you can see in the display here. So no company code is repeated twice. No company code is repeated twice. Only one company code is only one. Okay, so if I go to the 1710 company code, if I go to the 1710 company code, if I just scroll down to the left-hand side, right-hand side, here there are two options are there. Very, very important. One is the fiscal year variant. Second one is the posting period variant. Very, very important. One is the fiscal year variant. Another one is the posting period variant. Fiscal year variant, I'm using the K4. K4 is the standard one. K4 is the standard. Okay. So V3, V3, V6, V9, and K4. These are going to be called as the fiscal year variants, which are standard in our SAP, which are standard. If you have assigned V3 over there, if you have assigned the V3 here, for example, then this will become your April to March. April to March. If you have assigned the V6, this will become your July to June. This will become your July to June. July 1st, June 30th, you're calling. If you are assigning V9, V9 is nothing but October to September. If you are assigning K4, K4 is nothing but from Jan to December. So these are going to be called as fiscal year variants. These are going to be called as your fiscal year variants. Now I'll go to the fiscal year variant. Now I'll go to the fiscal year variant. Same in the ledger. Here, fiscal year. Maintain fiscal year variant. I'll tell you now. What is a fiscal year? Fiscal is nothing but your financial year. Fiscal year is always will be a financial year. Yeah. See here. There are three things, sir. One, I want to have a definition of a year. Second one, I want to have a definition of a calendar year. Third one, I want to have a definition of a fiscal year. What is a year? Year is nothing but, okay, a frame which contains the length of 12 months with 365 days. I can call it as a year. Either you are using with with non-sequence of the months from Jan to December, or you are using from February to December, February to January, or March to February, whatever may be. Okay, I can call as a year as a length of 12 months with 365. If the year doesn't contain the length of 12 months, for example, if the year doesn't contain about the 12 months, if it contains only the 10 months, I cannot call it as a complete year. I cannot call it as an incomplete year. I cannot give the complete definition of an year. If I want to give the complete definition of an year, I should contain the length of 12 months. The framework should contain the length of 12 months with 365 days. Whatever the number of periods, whatever the number of months you are going, okay, whatever the sequence of the months you are using, I am not bothered, but it should contain the 365 days with 12 months. That is the year. Now, I can apply the same definition to the calendar year also. I can apply the same definition to the calendar here, but the small change, you should have the length of 12 months with 365 days, but not irrespective of the months. It should contain the sequence of from Jan to December. If it is not to Jan to December, if it is not in sequence of Jan to December, I cannot call it as a calendar year. No, calendar year should be contained. Calendar year must be contained from Jan to December only with the length of 12 months with 365 days. That is going to be called as a calendar year. Next one, fiscal year. Here also I am using the word called as a year. In the calendar also I am using the word called as a year. In the fiscal year also I am using the word called as a year. So if I am using the word as a year, definitely it should contain the length of 12 months with 365 days. But here, if I calling as a fiscal year, the months are called as a periods. The months are called as a periods. Very, very important, because you are using the financial year, not the normal years like academic year, or not just like a calendar year, or not like you are using the term called as a fiscal year. Then all the months are called as a periods. So it should contain the length of 12 periods with 365 days. Okay, either you are using the April to March, or Jan to December, or July to June, or October to September. I'm not bothered about that. I'm not bothered about that. And I'm not bothered about the sequence of the periods you are going to be using. It should contain the length of 12 periods with 365 days is called as a financial year, or it is called as a fiscal year. So these are the three things which we need to understand here. Certification question.
For the fiscal year, is it necessary that it's 12 periods?
If it is not a 12 period, then in my SAP, I can call it as a shortened fiscal year.
Yeah, it can even span to 24 periods.
Exactly. I can call it as a shortened fiscal year.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'll take an example. I'll take an example of all this. We are taking three into consideration. I'll take one example that is nothing but your fiscal year is from April to March. Example. Okay. April to March. Example I'm taking here. Okay. Now, in which calendar year we are right now? We are in 2019 calendar year. I put here. Sorry. I need to put here. Here in the okay. I am in the calendar year of 2019. What is your fiscal year? Can somebody tell me what is your fiscal year? If I'm using April to March.
April to March.
April 2019 to March 2020.
Okay, so can I like
fiscal
2019 to
it
20 like
fiscal year? Okay, go ahead.
Clear? Shall I write like this? Okay, so 2019-20, but your fiscal year is 2019 only, madam. All of you. Your fiscal year is 2019, but when I go for reporting, when I go for audit reports, I'll show it as a 2019 and 20. Why? Because I'm taking the year shifting for the next calendar year, that is January, February, and March. Okay, now let me put the formula here. Now let me put the formula here. Now we are in months. Okay, so I need to start with the calendar year. Okay, one.
So 1 second, the current period would be still in fiscal year 2018, right?
Exactly. I'll tell you. Now I'm coming to the same thing. Okay, now here you can see. Okay, now how many days, how many months I've taken? The months which I've taken as a 12 months, very, very important here. The months which I've taken, because if you doesn't have the calendar year, I cannot define my fiscal year. Very, very important. The fiscal year is completely proportional to your calendar year. If you doesn't have the calendar year, I cannot define my fiscal year in my SAP. Very, very important. Financial year in my SAP. Now, yes, this is my calendar year. This is 2019 calendar year. This is 2019 calendar year. Okay. How many days? 31, 28. It should contain the length of 365 days. The 365 days. Okay, now, yes. Now, if you count, okay, 365 days will come. Okay, now I'm going to be taking here. Now, yes, I got the months and I got the periods. If you see 12 periods with 365 days, very good. Now, what is your fiscal year? Your financial year is from April to March. Yes, your financial year is from April to March. Okay, so these 3 periods in the calendar year, these 3 months, I'm just putting as a, okay, these are not going to be used. So my financial year will be starting from April. This is nothing but my April. So my April period will become the first period. April period will become my first period. Second period, and this will become my third period, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Okay, right. Okay. Now, yes. Now see here very carefully. My calendar has been completed up to 12 months, but when I see my periods are ending only with the 9 periods only. My periods are ending with only with the 9 periods. Okay. Have you gone for next year shifting? No, I have not gone for next year because still I am in the calendar year 2019. So it is not a year shifting to the next calendar year. So I can put it as a 0. 0 is indicator in SAP that you are okay. These are the periods which lies in the same calendar year. Very, very important. So 00 is an indicator. This is the standard coding in SAP that 00 is nothing but your periods are in the same calendar year. Okay. No, but I cannot tell it is a complete financial year. No, I cannot tell it as a complete financial year. Definitely. Okay. Now, what should I do? I need to go for the year shifting. I need to go for the year shifting. Year shifting is for the financial year, or you're using the year shifting as a calendar year. Year shifting always will be a calendar year. Year shifting is always will be a calendar. Now you're completed 2019. Now you're completed 2019. Now what I do? I'll go for 2020 now. I'll go for 2020 calendar year. In the 2020 calendar year, if I same calendar year like this, again I have the same calendar year like this, same thing. Very, very important here. Very, very important. Now I am going to the year shifting to the next calendar year. So what I will do, I will take, okay, very, very important. I will take this as next year. I'll take, you're complete 9. Now I'm taking as a 10th period. I'm taking as 11th period, and I'm taking it as a 12th period. Now, if I see here, 1 to 12, I have completed all my fiscal year periods here, 1 to 12, but there is a year shifting is there. You're not using the calendar year as a fiscal year. If I'm using the calendar year as a fiscal year, as a Jan to December, no need to go for any year shifting because all the periods are existing in the same calendar year. Jan to December is your calendar year. Jan to December is nothing but your fiscal year. No need to go for any other year shifting, but this is a non-calendar fiscal year. So what I'm going to do, it made me to compulsory go to the year shifting. 2019 is my financial year, but year shifting is 2020. How to tell to the SAP, this is the year shifting to the next calendar year. So if I take a -1, this is the -1. -1 is nothing but year shifting proportionate to your calendar. Very, very important. So like this. So 00 is nothing but 00s are nothing but your current periods are in the same financial year, it's the same calendar year, and 10, 11, 12 periods are in the year shifting period. That is 0, 1, -1, -1, and -1. You're telling to the SAP that this is the year shifting. So you are using the same calendar year. You are using the same pattern for all the coming years, 2019, 20, 21, 22, 20. You are not going to change it. This will be the same. Your financial accounts are opened on the April 1st and your financial accounts are going to be closed by March 31st. This is called as an year independent fiscal year. Independent fiscal year, very, very important. If there is no change in the opening date and the closing date of your financial accounts, is called as a year independent financial year. Very, very important. If I use Rahul, my fiscal year is not April to March, my fiscal year is from Jan to December. Jan to December. So this fiscal year variant is called as a V6, V9. Okay, sorry. This fiscal year is going to be called as a V3. V3. April to March is called as a V3 in our SAP. Now I'm using Jan to December. Jan to December is called as a K4. K4. Okay. Now here, in this case, if you take the K4, I am in the 2019. So my periods will be on the same. So April to March. No need to go for year shifting. Everything will be here only. No need to go for year shifting. Like this. This is what exactly my April to March, sorry, Jan to December. Now in this case, I'm not using the year shifting calendar year. No year shifting is nothing to be done because this is April to March. This is from Jan to December. I'm using the same calendar year as my fiscal year. No year shifting for this. I'm making the statement clear or not, sir, all of you?
Mahesh, one question. So this is what you highlighted, right? From Jan to December, right? So this is year dependent, right?
Which one, sir?
The one you are highlighted right now?
No, sir. Year independent only. Both are year independent only.
Okay. So what is the difference? Both
The
are year.
difference here. No. See, sir, in our SAP, we have different fiscal years. Not in SAP, if we go for a universe, okay, if we go for a world, okay, we have different fiscal years. Okay. When I tell it as a fiscal year where your companies are opening, you're closing a financial account on the same day and you're closing the accounts on the same day. For example, if I take a Jan to December, every year in US, my books of accounts will be opened in the Jan 1st and by 31st of December, I need to close all the year-end closing activity because I need to open the next year fiscal year, that is 2019 or 2020. No change. Every year I follow the same thing. Every year I follow the same thing. Even it is April to March or Jan to December or it is July to June or it is October to September, doesn't matter. Every year
is air dependent, right? The question I have is this is called air independent fiscal year, right?
Which one, sir?
The one we started, right, from Jan to December. So this is called air independent, right?
Independent, exactly. Exactly. You are absolutely right.
Okay.
When I'm using less than one period or 2 periods or 3 periods, for example, I'm taking, I have acquired a new company. But due to some normal legal regulations, my company has been shut down for 3 months. Example, my company has been shut down for first 3 months. I'm using April to March. Example, my company has been shut down for 3 months. Okay, it is in US, but I have opened my books of accounts on April 1st. So I need to close my books of accounts by December 31st. I should not extend till the March. I had to close by December 31st. Irrespective of number of periods you are going to be using. I had to close my books of accounts by 31st of March. Why? Because the new year fiscal year I'll start it from the January 1st. Now 2019, you are not using these first 3 periods. You're not using first 3 periods. So you started books of accounts from April and you close your books of accounts by March 31st. March 31st. This is called as year dependent.
Okay, got it.
and it will also become your shortened fiscal year, where your
can
opening and closing of the financial books of accounts are different dates.
Can you repeat that again, Mahesh? Why do you call that year dependent?
When my books of accounts are going to be different with the opening and closing of the dates. Last year, it Jan to December, but this year I'm opening my books of accounts in the mid of the January or something like in the mid of the February or mid of the March, whatever maybe, due to some accidents in my company. So my company has been shut down because of the legal authorization, whatever maybe something. I have opened my company in the mid of March after clearing of all my legal regulations with my government. I have opened my company. I have reopened my company. So I started my booking of my accounting entries from the March 3rd or March 4th.
Got it.
So from that date, I had to open my accounts, but I had to close my books of accounts by 31st of March. You should not extend up to next year. So this particular financial year, the 2019, is called as a year dependent.
Yeah. I have another question. When shall we use instead of -1 +1?
I'll tell, sir. Now, I'll come for one more, yeah? I'll come for B6.
Mahesh, this is Prem here.
Prem.
For the year dependent, if you are basically having an irregular fiscal year, as you said, starting in the middle of March and then closing by 31st of December or whenever it is closing, can it be more than 12 months or less than 12 months? It can be anything, right?
Anything, sir. It depends upon your fiscal requirement about your company. It depends upon anything. It can be anything. Yeah.
Okay.
It can be possible more than 12 months, Mahesh? How?
No. In asset accounting, we can
go
define
across the 12 month, right? It should be
exactly. Okay. See. Yeah, 12 months are your standard accounting period, sir. Jan to December are standard accounting periods.
But we cannot go further, right?
Yes, exactly. But what I will do, before I close my audit books of accounts, I need to do some adjustments. I'm right or wrong, sir? You have to do some adjustments.
Yeah, so, there is no continuity, actually.
Exactly. SAP is providing you 4 special periods, 13, 14, 15, 16. These 4 special periods are called as adjustment periods, actually. So that I'll discuss. Okay, I'll discuss that. Okay, apart from 12 periods, we have 4 special periods, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'll explain those 4. Now, I'm coming for the B6. Okay, or B9, whatever maybe. What is B9? B9 is nothing but October to September. October to September. When I take it as October, October is the 10th, 11th is the my November, and December is the 12th. Now again I need to, this is for 2019. Okay. Now only 3 months are there in the current calendar year. This is from October to September. I'm using my fiscal year. Now I have to go for 2020. 2020. Very, very important here. 2020. Again 2020, 1, 2 till 10 periods. So 9 periods. 1 to 9. 1 to 9 I'm taking here. So October to September. So your books of accounts are getting opened in the month of October, and your books of accounts are getting closed in the month of September. Now, instead of taking my 2019 as my fiscal year, I'll take my 2020 as my fiscal year. Very, very important, sir. I'm taking an example here. So what I will do here, in this case, what I will do, I will put this as a +1. +1, +1, the +1. I'm taking as a +1 here. If you see very carefully, +1 is nothing but you are coming back to the 2019 fiscal year and adding these 3 current year, this previous fiscal year, this previous calendar year periods as a current year, 2020 fiscal year. Very, very important. So +1 is nothing but previous year to the current year. -1 is nothing but future year to the current fiscal year. Clear, all of you?
Yes. So if we are going with the with future calendar year, right? We are putting plus.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is about the fiscal year, sir. I hope everybody has got now what is the fiscal year. What is the difference between the fiscal year and the calendar year, and what is the year now by this time. Now, always I call it as a fiscal year variant. If you see here, the definition is calling as a fiscal year variant. What do you mean by this variant? I know what is the fiscal year, Rahul. I know what is the fiscal year. Can you please explain me what is a variant? Yes, there is a concept called as variant. Now, this is the structure, sir. This is your structure. Example, let me take an example. This is your structure. Okay. You need to define the structure in SAP, sir, because SAP is a domain of. SAP is a domain of. Until or unless if you are not defined the proper structure, SAP will not consider it. So I can't go and assign. I can't. Okay, this fiscal year should be assigned to your company code, because another company codes may use different fiscal years. But when I come to my US 10 company code, this is what exactly my fiscal year. My company code uses from Jan to December. Another company codes may have another fiscal years. Now, how should I assign this? How should I assign this fiscal year to my company code? How to tell to the SAP that this is the company code fiscal year I assigned to the US 10 company code? Are you going to assign every month? Go assign. Go February assign. Go March assign. Go April assign. No, I cannot assign like this. No, you can't assign the periods to the company codes. You can't assign the days to the company codes. So what the SAP is telling that, why don't you take a variant concept? Why? What is the variant? You do one thing. Just bring all the structure. You have defined the structure. Yes. You just bring this structure and use a variant. Use a one box called as a K4 is nothing but your box. Okay. K4 is nothing but your box. You put all this data. You structure all this data in this variant. Okay, right. Okay. Is it compulsory that I have to use only the K4? No, it is not a compulsory. As an SAP standard, K4 is called as a Jan to December, V3 is going to be called as April to March, V9 is called as October to September. If you don't want to use the K4, can I use any other alpha numerical value? Yes, you can use any two alpha numerical values to create a variant. Either you can use L1, either you can use LL, whatever maybe. Either you can use whatever maybe, O1 or whatever maybe. But it should be limited only up to 2 characters. Okay, either you use the alphanumerical or alphabetical or numerical, whatever maybe. So first what I will do, I will create a one variant. Okay, one box. Okay, I'm creating a one variant which is called as a box. Okay, after you create the variant, you populate this all the data. You populate all this data into this variant. Put this data, put this structure into where? I'm putting this structure into this variant. And take this variant K4 and assign to your company code like this. Enough. That is what exactly I have done here, sir. That is what exactly I have done here. If you see here, my company code 1710, directly I went and assigned the K4. K4 is nothing but my variant. So what is a variant? Define the variant. First one, you create the variant, populate the data into the variant, you put the data into this variant and execute this variant for normal transaction process. So when I assign the K4 as a variant to my company code, then the system will go into the K4 now. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to the K4. Now I don't know. Okay. Now where is the K4 here? This is my fiscal year variant. Where is the K4? Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So it is a calendar year. Yes. If I use April to March, see here, April to March is here. It is not a calendar year. I'm not selecting the checkbox because it is not calendar year. Na? It is not a calendar year. April to March is nothing but your calendar year. So I need to select this checkbox. And are you using the year dependent or year independent? If you're not selecting the checkbox, this will become your year dependent. If you're not selecting the checkbox, it will become your year dependent. Year dependent. Very, very important, sir. Here you need to define here. So it is a year independent. Okay, now I'll close it. Because how I know it is a year independent, see here, I'm using 12 periods. I'm using number of special periods as a 4. Normal 12 periods, April to Jan to December. And I have 4 special periods. I will use it 4 special periods. I'll set it. Okay. Now, fiscal year weeks also you can define. I'll explain this concept. Okay. First, I'll make you to explain this, and then I'll go for this. This is the new one which has been added in your recipe now. Okay. Fiscal year weeks. Okay. I'll explain afterwards. Okay. Now, so it is a calendar year. So I selected as a calendar year. So number of periods are 12. So I should not select the year dependent. If the number of periods are 10 or something like 11, then I need to come and select it as a year dependent. But it is not a year dependent, my dear friend. It contains about the number of 12 periods. Complete April to March. I have April to March. Okay, right. Very good. So now I'm selecting. And I'll go here, option called as the periods, PERIODS. Okay, now I'll double click on the periods. K4, where is K4? Yeah. 1 second, sir, 1 second. I'll select periods. Periods cannot be maintained to the calendar. Okay, already it has been maintained. Okay, so I'll take it as the next one. Okay, I'll take it as a V3. Okay, now I'll go. Now here you can see here. See, April to March. So -1, -1, -1. That is January, February, and March. So your fiscal year is opening from April. So it is become your 0, 0, 0, 0. So you can see the months, days, periods, and year shift. The same thing, I just put it in the diagrammatical form. The same structure I'll copy from here and I'll paste it here directly here. So this is your structure. So all this data, whatever the periods maintenance you have done, where you have kept all this data, I kept all this data into this variant. V3 is nothing but my variant. So your V3 is nothing but your variant. I'll go to the company code and I will assign the V3 here directly. So my V3. So I'll go and I will assign the V3 like this. V3. So V3, K4, V9, V6, these all are nothing but your fiscal year variants. Any doubts, sir? Anybody has any doubts?
No, clear.
Mahesh, fiscal year always assigned to company code level, right? There's no
exactly. You're absolutely right, sir. Exactly.
Okay.
Company code is very, very important. No, sir. So we will assign it to the company code only. Always we need to assign it to the company code. But here, if you take here, I'm using the OL. I am using the OL. See here, very, very important, sir. OL. Tomorrow we'll explain about the non-leading ledger fiscal years tomorrow.
Mahesh, what is the kind of exercise we want to do?
No, till now, whatever the practicals I'm showing on the desktop, you just started with that. Okay, I'll give the special exercise for you, all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Because we are in the mid of the currency settings and everything. Once I complete this configuration, I'll give the exercises.
Okay.
Mahesh, is there anything we can lay down like from company code to, because if we are creating a new project, right?
I'll give, sir. There is one PPT is there. I'll give it to you.